worry. Hey. Hello. Hi. Welcome back to my channel and to a new ASMR video. So, today I thought that I would make like kind of a themed video again, because I had a very nice time doing that with the ASMR for Gamers video. So I thought about what other hobbies I have other than playing games. I came up with reading books. So I have quite a hefty book collection. This year, on the back of me, they are not mine. I have far more than that. And I decided to pick some of the books from my shelf and just kind of maybe tell you a bit about them, do some tippity tapping and scratching, maybe some page flipping, if all goes according to plan. And I really hope you all will enjoy it. So let's begin. First up, we have a book which I have displayed on the channel before, and I thought it made really good sounds. Rumble in the Jungle by Giles Andrea. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend it. Of course I do, but you know, maybe some of you will enjoy it. It has a very unique material. Very plasticky. Which means a lot of nice tapping sounds can be made. Especially if I had longer nails. this will have to suffice. There's a rumble in the jungle, there's a whisper in the trees. The animals are waking up and rustling the leaves. Come into the jungle for a noisy, rhyming animal romp from the offer of giraffes count dawns. Fabulous, bright and breezy books with vivid, witty illustrations. According to Times Educational Supplement. The pages, they make kind of a stiff sound. Doing some fingertip tapping as well. If my hands were a bit more sweaty, I would be able to make some really good sticky sounds with this. Even when my hands are sort of dry, I can still do that. So, you know, probably really good for that sort of thing. Well, I brought with me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books. So I better hurry along. Next book that I brought, I got as a present on my 18th birthday a couple of years back, and I found it very fitting and hope that maybe it can make some nice sounds, and it is Adulthood is a Myth. Now, what is sort of interesting with this book in terms of sounds is that the text and the sweater here are made in this velvety material. Which I sort of enjoy. And this one is a collection of comics, very relatable comics, I would say. This one is so very me. Things I could do when my Wi-Fi's down. Read a book, which I sometimes do. Enjoy the weather, which I rarely do. Catch up with friends, which I sometimes do. Clean and organize, which I would be too stressed whilst the internet is down, probably. What I do, spend hours doing this. Connect to the stupid Wi-Fi. Connect, you stupid son of a... I think you know the continuation. What about people not wanting help and complaining? Very much me. What about hairy legs and good relationships? You get the idea. Yeah, but this book is probably... I can recommend it if you are like an 18, 20 something person. I think it is mostly supposed to be kind of related to female audiences, but who cares about gender norms? I have an ex-boyfriend who actually sort of liked this one, so you never know. I have another book of hers as well, and a calendar in Spanish because I have a lovely friend who went to Spain. My Spanish is sort of bad, but it works. So, let's move on to the next book. So, next up we have a classical book. It is a collection, basically, of this author's works. It is a collection of works by Edgar Allan Poe. I hope you're fine with like low-key mouth sounds like that. I am in some sort of mood. For some reason, I always find the spine of the book to be the most enjoyable in terms of sounds. Quick comparison. The spine and the regular book. I think it might be a very case-by-case basis sort of thing. Let's read the back, shall we? The Gothic and Fantasy Collection. One of the greatest writers of the Gothic fantastic, Edgar Allan Poe's dark and masterful tales have inspired generations of authors, writing horror, crime, and science fiction. Revel in Poe's skill with macabre twists of fate, as well as his fascination with science and inventions in this chilling collection of short stories with a dash of poetry and his only finished novel. I got this at a book sale a few years back. Haven't read all of it. The one called The Fall of the House Usher was a good one though. sound. Metzengerstein, Bernice, Morella, Lygia, The Fall of the House of Usher, Eleonora, The Mask of the Red Death, Lenore, To One in Paradise, Mesmeric Revelation, The Tale of the Ragged Mountains, The Raven, Let's read a bit of The Raven. "76. I won't read all of it, just the shortest part here. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there was a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished tomorrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And it continues. If you have ever seen the Simpsons interpretation of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, it is fantastic and accurate and enjoyable, and I love it. So that was the Edgar Allan Poe collection. Then we have one of my favorite books of all time, which I felt like showing off to you today. It is called The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. It has kind of a grainy sort of texture that the other books have not had. So I thought maybe it can make some interesting scratching noises. I would very highly recommend this book. Let me read the back and maybe it can catch your interest. Matteo Alagran was not born, he was harvested. His DNA came from El Padron, lord of a country called Opium, a strip of poppy fields lying between the United States and what was once called Mexico. Matt's first cell split and divided inside of a petri dish. Then he was placed in the womb of a cow, where he continued the miraculous journey from embryo to fetus to baby. He is a boy now, but most consider him a monster, except for El Padron. El Padron loves Matt as he loves himself, because Matt is himself. As Matt struggles to understand his existence, he is threatened by a sinister cast of characters, including El Padron's power-hungry family, and he is surrounded by a dangerous army of bodyguards. Escape is the only chance Matt has to survive, but escape from the Alagran estate is no guarantee for freedom, because Matt is marked by his differences in ways he doesn't even suspect. So basically this Matt is a clone of the drug boss El Padron, which the family obviously doesn't like. Kind of wish I had a brush right now, like a makeup brush, because a lot of pleasant brushing sounds could be had from this. I read this 5 years ago. I was 15 and I loved it so very, very much. And I have no doubt I would love it today. It is very deep and thought-provoking, and it has won 1, 2, 3 prizes. So maybe people agree with me. Another thing that is sort of nice is that if you open it, it is floppy. I don't know why not all paperbacks are made to be floppy, but it is a shame because I love floppy paperbacks a whole lot. In the beginning, there were 36 of them. 36 droplets of life so tiny that Eduardo could see them only under a microscope. He studied them anxiously in the darkened room. Water bubbled through the tubes that snaked around the warm, humid walls. Air was sucked into a growth chamber. A dull red light shone on the faces of the workers as they watched their own arrays of little glass dishes. Each one contained a drop of life. So that is House of the Scorpion, and I could be wrong, but I think that alacrán is scorpion in Spanish. Maybe it isn't. I could be wrong. Then we have one of my very, very prized possessions. It isn't only because the book is good, but also because it is signed. World of Warcraft, Before the Storm. For you new people, I love World of Warcraft a lot. I have done some WoW content on my channel. So if you haven't watched, then I suggest doing so. And the WoW franchise has a lot of books, and this book takes place in between the end of Legion and the beginning of battle for Azeroth. And as said, it is signed by Christie Golden. I was in New York 2 years ago, about, at a bookstore called the Strand, and it was a couple of days after the release. I did not personally meet Christie Golden, but there was a signed copy, and she is one of my favorite authors, so I freaked out and had to have it. And truth to be told, I would have bought it anyway, even though not signed. But I love it so very much, you don't even know. I love it, 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 love it. I love it. It has maps, which is nice. We all like fantasy books with maps. And I realized that reading the back, or more accurately, the inside flap, will not give you a whole lot if you don't know a lot about WoW, but I'll do so anyway. Azeroth's reckoning has begun. Azeroth is dying. The Horde and the Alliance defeated the demonic Burning Legion, but a dire catastrophe is unfolding deep below the surface of the world. There is a mortal wound in the heart of Azeroth, struck by the sword of the fallen Titan Sargeras in a final act of cruelty. For Anduin Wrynn, King of Stormwind, and Sylvanas Windrunner, War Chief of the Horde and Queen of the Forsaken, there is little time to rebuild what remains, and even less to mourn what was lost. Azeroth's devastating wound has revealed the mysterious material known as Azerite. In the right hands, this strange golden substance is capable of incredible feats of creation. In the wrong ones, it could bring forth unthinkable destruction. As Alliance and Horde forces race to uncover the secrets of Azerite and heal the wounded world, Anduin enacts a desperate plan aimed at forging a lasting peace between the factions. Azerite jeopardizes the balance of power, and so Anduin must gain the trust of Sylvanas. But the Dark Lady ever has her own machinations. For peace to be possible, generations of bloodshed and hatred must be put to rest. There are troops that neither side is willing to accept, As Alliance and Horde alike grasp for the asteroid's power, their simmering conflict threatens to reignite all-out war, a war that will spell doom for Azeroth. It is beautiful and purple underneath, and it stays open perfectly. As mentioned, the backs are always the best. Then we have a book from another one of my favorite authors. It is The Fireman by Hill, the son of Stephen King. And according to at least me, I think that he is a lot better than his father, because Hill can write endings properly. If you watch the newest It movie, you would know that the fact that Stephen King can't write endings, that's kind of a joke. A very true joke. Okay, so the back says the #1 New York Times best-selling novel. Nobody knew where the virus came from. fox said it had been set loose by ISIS. MSNBC said it might have been stolen by a culty Christian type. CNN reported both sides, while every TV station debated the cause. The world burned. Pregnant school nurse Harper Grayson has seen lots of people burn on TV. But the first person she saw burn for real was in the playground behind her school. Now she is infected and has only one goal: to survive long enough to give birth. But the fire is spreading. With a big scope and emotional impact, this is one woman's story of survival at the end of the world. And it is a hell of a ride. I love it. It was a really good book. This guy, Joe Hill, he has a lot of passion for writing. And you can definitely see that in his works. He even tried to hide the fact that he was Stephen King's son for a long time. Because he did not want to be recognized by that thing alone, and more so the art he made, which that is awesome. Full on respect to him. Let us try to do that slow. So putting this to the side, now I have been going on for an hour, about somewhere around there, and I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books left. We have gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. About. So it is time for the lightning round. So for you people who don't care about my voice and only want very concentrated and not too long sounds from the books, this is your time to party. technically be it. I really hoped you enjoyed the video and that I could bring you either calm, relaxation, or even sleep.